So The Spirit is a comic book neo-noir film that came out back in 2008, written and directed by Frank Miller based on the comic book series of the same name. This is a film that follows, as you can imagine, the Spirit, played by Gabriel I think that's how I pronounce his name. If not, I'm so sorry, sir. Before the events of the film, he was shot to death while on duty by a character named the Octopus, played by Samuel Jackson. Basically, this character has come back to life to go back after the Octopus. There's stuff involving a character named Sans Serif, if I remember correctly, portrayed by Eva Mendes. There's another character played by Scarlett Johansson. There's a nurse played by Sarah Paulson, who is his current flame. I think that's the story of the film. Alrighty guys, so let's get into The Spirit.
Excellent!
The one thing that I can say that I do appreciate about The Spirit, and that is saying very, very lightly about this film, and that's the look and the cinematography by Bill Pope. Yes, the legendary Bill Pope who shot The Matrix, Team America World Police, and recently Shang-Chi, shot this film. It's striking and visually looks great. But here's the thing, like I've always said, you can have a pile of shit right next to you, and you can light and color that pile of shit in any way possible. But still, nonetheless, what is it always going to be? A pile of shit.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Where do I even start with this movie? Before I continue on, I want to talk to you guys about the first time I had seen this movie. The Spirit came out back in 2008. I was a freshman in high school, and this was about, I want to say, a year or two after Sin City came out, which Sin City blew my mind. When I saw the trailers, and when I saw it was from the same creator of Sin City, Frank Miller, I was just like, oh my god, I have to see this movie. Begged my dad to take me to see this, to which he said no, to which I thank my dad a billion times for not doing that. Cut to, I want to say about 6 months later, maybe a year later, Blockbuster was around. Oh my god, Blockbuster, I feel fucking old saying that. When I was in high school, my dad would take my brother and I to Blockbuster, and every once in a while, we would get a crap load of DVDs to buy. And I saw that The Spirit was on sale. I bought the film, and one night when my dad and my brother were asleep upstairs, I was like, yes, I get to finally see this movie. I can't wait to have my mind blown. Boy, I had no idea what I was in for. Keep this in mind, guys. I had not seen The Spirit since, I think it was in 2009, maybe halfway through 2009 when I finally saw it, and was I disappointed? Oh, absolutely. Cut to over 10 years later, it's 2022. Think about that, over 10 years later since I had first seen it, I decided, you know what? It's time for me to review this film. I rewatched it in preparation, and oh my god, it's as bad as I remember. Holy shit. Before I go on, I want to make something completely clear to you all, and again, this is my personal opinion from what I'm about to say. I'm a huge fan of Sin City, as you could obviously tell by my t-shirt. As you all know, if you have seen Sin City, that was a collaboration between Frank Miller, who made the novels, and Robert Rodriguez. I do not want to discredit anybody here. While the images and the words that you see are Frank Miller's imagery and his words, it is all being executed under Robert Rodriguez's direction. Robert Rodriguez did a badass job bringing Sin City to the screen. I mean, Sin City, if you haven't seen Sin City, guys, watch the movie. And Damn to Kill wasn't bad, it's just not a particularly good film in my eyes, but it's definitely worth watching. Without Robert Rodriguez directing and his execution, and it's just Frank Miller, the difference, guys, is so obvious. Frank Miller did state that he used the same technology to bring The Spirit to life. And yes, you could use that same technology. It's like using Shakespeare's pen to write something. Sure, you have the same technology or the same utensils that he had, but does that mean it's gonna be good? There's your answer right there. Everything else here is a bus fire of a movie from moment one, guys. When you're adapting any type of medium to a different medium, like for a book to a film or TV to a book, whatever you want to say, not everything is going to translate to film. It's clear that he wanted to be extremely faithful. I mean, he even said that. But it is extremely faithful to a massive fault. I guess we should talk about the story. And while I'd love to talk about the story, I couldn't tell what the story was. I could not tell you guys for the life of me what the film story is. I literally just watched this film about like 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm already not remembering what the plot was, if there even was a plot. Do not get me wrong, there are scenes that connect together, there's a series of events that connect together, but as far as an overarching plot, as an overarching storyline, what is it? The Spirit doesn't feel like a complete story. It just feels like a bunch of sequences cut together to make what? I think it's like an hour and 40, 50-minute movie somewhere around there. Moving on to the next thing. The writing and directing. I am not trying to discredit Frank Miller. Frank Miller has written some of the greatest graphic novels of all time. There's no denying that. Yeah, his work on this movie... Yeah. Tonally wise, it is all over the place. Sometimes it's too serious.
She sleeps after midnight and until dawn. Only shadows move in the silence.
Then sometimes it turns into an unintentionally hilarious movie.
Come on! Toilets are always funny.
Sometimes it's a parody.
I am Plaster of Paris.
It goes all over the place. There's no focus on what the film's tone is. The acting here, the performances of this movie. Oh my god. Gabriel Match, I mean, he's doing his absolute best with the work that he's given. Although I will admit, the costume does look good on him. I'll give him that. I just never had any attachment to his character. He could have died and I would have cared less. Eva Mendes as Sancerre, if I remember correctly, she has this much of development. Otherwise, she's just there for eye candy sakes. Scarlett Johansson, I remember her character's name. I'm serious. That's how unmemorable her character is. And once again, like with Eva Mendes, she is simply there just for eye candy. Sarah Paulson's in this movie, and Sarah Paulson, I mean, she's not particularly bad in this film. There's clearly something here between Sarah Paulson's character and the Spirit, but again, they go barely scratch the surface on what is probably a romantic flame for the Spirit. And Samuel Jackson, oh my god, okay. I love Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is one of the greatest actors of all time. He's one of our greatest actors, period. Samuel Jackson is doing everything that they absolutely can to bring this movie out of the dumpster fire it is. But even Samuel Jackson cannot help this movie. Samuel Jackson's octopus this movie, he feels like a character ripped from another movie and put into this film. Let's talk about the costume design here, because in every single scene that the octopus is in, that Samuel Jackson is in, he is in a completely different costume. Why? Variety, I guess. But there's a scene in this movie, well, there's two different scenes in this movie. So he goes from wearing a samurai outfit with these sideburns, and then the next scene, he is literally wearing the SS uniform. That's just, I have really no words to, not only is it just weird, but it makes no sense. There is a scene in this movie with Samuel Jackson in the very beginning where he's fighting the spirits. There's a particular thing that he does, and I literally went, the action sequences are just there, and once again, a sequence that should be really fun to watch comes off more comedic than anything else. I mean, guys, this movie is so bad, it is just laughable. There's one scene in particular that I have to talk about the scene because of how stupid it is. There's a sequence in this film, and it's near the third act of this movie. The Spirit has given up, and it's clear that throughout the film that he has this relationship with this character that's obviously a symbolism for death. He's about to give himself into this thing. He fights back. I can't even think about this seriously. The reason why he comes back is because of all the women he has met in his life. And then it proceeds to show all the women that he has met throughout the entire film. Even the people that tried to kill him. Speaking of the woman that tried to kill him, there is this girl in this movie that just shows up out of nowhere. By the way, she's just in it because to dance. The spirit in her escape, right? And the spirit makes some moves on her because he has a thing for women. He starts kissing this girl out of nowhere. Just stabs him with a machete.
This is for sand. Toi la butte par les chattes. I am Plaster of Paris.
Where'd she get the machete? I want to bring up one more sequence and how everything is edited here, because the editing here is just atrocious. It's terrible editing. There's a particular sequence in the third act that involves the Spirit, Samuel L. Jackson, Eva Mendes, Scarlett Johansson, pretty much everyone's in. It's where it all comes to a head. And there is a sequence of cuts here that every time I see it, I just think, what the what just happened? Instead of explaining it, I think I should just show you all, so just let's roll it. Yeah. It's the Spirit is about hour 45, hour 50. Oh my god, it's a trog along at a snail's pace. Holy crap. It feels like this movie is never gonna end, and when it finally does, you're just screaming hallelujah once it ends. As soon as those credits came on, the ending credits came on, to show you what I was thinking, roll this clip.
What the fuck?
And here we go.
So overall, when it comes to the Spirit, there are many words that I'd use to describe this movie. It's a bus fire, it's a disaster, it's an abomination, and those are just three of the many words that I'd use. But to put it simply, this is easily, without a doubt, the worst comic book film I have ever seen. I would much rather watch Fantastic, Batman and Robin. I would much rather watch Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance over this movie. I've only seen this movie twice, and both times I have seen it, I just leave flabbergasted that this movie exists. All in all, I'm gonna give The Spirit a -1 out of 5. I completely see what Frank Miller was trying to do here, but oh my god, Wags, the execution just... So comment down below and let me know. Have you guys seen The Spirit? If so, I'm so sorry I didn't endure that, but what'd you all think? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat, so if y'all want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links in the username in the description below. I hope y'all enjoyed my review, or I should say rant on The Spirit. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for when my latest video goes live. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 videos, please click either right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I'll see you all next time.